morning, guys. Just about to go get my hair cut. A lot of sirens and a lot of helicopters in the air right now. Hi guys, welcome back to another video. I hope you guys are all great and having a fantastic week. We are headed to New York soon, so I'm looking forward to that. I cannot wait. It's a little bit business, a little bit fun. Our company, Finding Mastery, is throwing like a taste makers kind of thing. It's like a little get-together party, but for business purposes. So that's the reason to go out there, so I'm looking forward to that. I've gotten some really fun questions and feedback on the last video. So I wanted to pop on because there was one question that came in that was pretty serious. It was a serious question. And the question had to do with my decision of only having one child and it being a boy. And am I concerned that he doesn't have any siblings? So that's a question. And the short question is, I love having an only child and I love that it's a boy. So that's the short answer. But there's a lot that entails that. So I'll give you like a history of it because I don't think that this is an easy question to answer because everybody's decision on having kids or not, or how many or whatever, is your decision. And I truly believe that whatever it is that floats your boat is the right decision for you. If you want to have one, if you want to have 10, if you want to have 5 dogs, if you want to have a farm, like it's your choice and your decision. And honestly, there is no wrong decision. I think that society has us crazy in we have to do this, we got to do that, we got to go there, we got to, it's like enough already. Like, who cares? If you want a kid, great. If you don't want a kid, great. If, I don't want to get political and I don't want to get crazy, but I just want to say to you guys that make a decision based on what you want and what is important to you, period. It doesn't matter what the person on the right says. It doesn't matter what the person on the left does. Are they paying your bills? Are they raising your family? Are they putting food on your table? If that answer is no, then they definitely have no say in your life. And even if they are doing that, they still have no say in your life, your body. But that's a whole other shit show. So I'll tell you my history and kind of my background. Mike and I, we were married 13 years before we decided to have kids. And we were together 8 years before that. So we were together a long time. We never wanted kids. It wasn't in our life plan. I think we were so living in the moment. Mike was still in school. I had started my business. I always knew having kids was a huge responsibility, and I wasn't ready to completely and totally devote myself to my kids. And that's really what I wanted to do. I always knew that if I did ever have kids, I wanted to be the one to raise them. I wanted to be the one to teach them. And being that I was a business owner, I came from a working mom, an entrepreneur, my parents were, that I knew that I didn't want the working lifestyle and kind of allow my kids to be influenced by other people. And that's just me, because I turned out pretty fine, and so did my sister. So it was just the ideals that I felt that I wanted to pass down. So when we got pregnant, one of the first questions were, was this the first time that you were trying? And I took it as like, did you get pregnant on the first try? So my reaction was like, oh no, it wasn't on the first try. Their reaction to that response was like, yeah, I knew it. So us not wanting to have kids and waiting so long was thought of as we couldn't have kids. And that was never the issue. So I tell you this because society influences so much of what we think we should do and how we should do it. And we have to stop, and you have to do what's right for you. I have one child. I do not regret it. Do sometimes the mom guilt creep up like, oh man, maybe I should have? Yeah, of course. But my dad's an only child raised by a single mom. So I had a pretty clear front row view of like, it's okay. Like, it's not a crazy thing to only have one child. I will say though, if you're only gonna have one child, it does put a little bit more responsibility on us, the parent, because they don't have a playmate. They don't have a built-in someone that has their back, at least as a young person, because there's no guarantee as they get older that they will even have a relationship. I have a sister. I love my sister. We are totally close. So thankfully, we are in each other's lives. But not all siblings like each other or are in each other's lives. So there's no guarantee. But when you have an only, especially when they're young, it's a big responsibility getting them into, make sure they're in a sport. If they're not good at sports, find whatever it is that they're good at so that they have that community around them. Make sure that, you take them to the birthday parties so that, not so that they're popular, but so that they learn how to communicate, be with other people, and most importantly, they need to navigate their way to find their people. And that's ultimately what needs to happen as they become an adult. And I truly believe that Grayson will find his people. We have conversations about this. Even early on, we had a conversation. What do you think, Grayson? You want a brother or sister? Like, would you like another? Because if we couldn't have another, like, I would go adopt another. You know what I mean? Like, if it's good for our family, no problem. I would adopt someone now if it was something that we wanted. So we had these conversations, and I never felt like, man, we should, or it's bad for Grayson. I never had that feeling or that thought that I was gonna mess him up or he was missing out on something. So what I would say to you guys, if you are wondering or struggling, should I have another? Is it okay to have one child? The answer is yes, it is okay, and they will be okay. Every time I come in contact with an only child, that's kind of the first question I ask, like, what was it like? Are you okay now? Like, every single person has said, oh yeah, it's totally fine. So they don't know any different. It's us imposing on them what they're probably feeling. And it's not. And if you feel that way, have a conversation with them. Not if they're a toddler, they don't know. But, so I don't know. I mean, that's a pretty heavy question. It's a very personal question. And I think it demands a very thoughtful progression, because what's good for me may not be good for you, may not be good for someone else, and that's okay. But when we do things, it's really important that we understand and we are mindful about what we are doing and saying, and I think that is what we miss out most as a society. I think we are the biggest shit show with values that we don't even know where we stand anymore, And the only thing that people want is the power and the power to control. So, without getting totally political, I think it's really important for you guys to do what it is that you want to do, period. So, I love my little family. I love that I only have one child. Does my mom guilt get to me sometimes? Yes. It got to me today because he had his last volleyball game, and it's in Burbank, which is like an hour and 15 minutes away. I drove it a lot when I was acting, but I was gonna go and I was gonna surprise him because he said, "Mom, you don't have to go," but I know that he wanted me to go. And so I get myself ready. I'm thinking it's at 4 o'clock. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna start getting ready at 1:30, 2:30, 3:34. I would get there right at 4 o'clock. So I ended up leaving the house about 15 minutes later than I wanted to. And when I was sitting in the car, I thought, let me check the coach's email, make sure that, I'm thinking what it is. Well, the game was actually starting at 3:30. At this point, it was 2:45. It was an hour and a half, according to Waze, so I wasn't gonna get there till 4:15. So I sat in the car like, damn it. Like, I wanted to be there for Grayson because does he really care? I'm not sure, but for me, I wanted to be there. And I screwed it up. So I felt guilty and like, oh my God, it's like he's on his own. It's all the craziness. He's gonna come back. He's gonna be fine. It was my own stupidity and guilt, and we'll move on. So I will say to you guys, don't be so hard on yourself. That's what I try to say to myself most of the time. And if you're asking those questions already, you are probably gonna be okay. And your child is gonna be okay. So I would say just be there for them, love them hard, because that's all kids need anyway. And stay open, keep the lines of communication open. You are going to fuck up at times, and that's okay. As long as you know it, and as long as they know that you're not perfect, they will be okay. All right, you guys, that's it. I hope this helps. Keep leaving me your comments. And we're going to New York, so I'm excited. Let's do it. All right, you guys, have a fantastic week. Thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to hit subscribe for more. Leave me your questions. See you in New York.